everyone, welcome back to my channel and welcome to my November update of my Pan Those Eyeshadows project. I'm kind of laughing because of how late I'm filming this update. I meant to film it earlier, but then I was filming other videos and it just kind of got pushed towards the end of the month. That's okay, but it kind of messes up in terms of like when I'm gonna film my December update, because I do want to give myself some time, but honestly I'm gonna end up having like 2 weeks between my November and December update so that I have the full month of December before my finale, I think. I don't know. I gotta figure that out. Timing is a little wonky, but it just is what it is. This is where we are at with this project. And I think I said in my last video, I have like one very specific goal for this project. I mean, it is to use all of these eyeshadows as much as possible, but at the end of the day, I want to hit pan on one particular eyeshadow, and then everything else I feel like is just gravy, the icing on top. You know, I'm using the food references because I'm filming this the week of Thanksgiving. If you are not familiar with this project, how it works is at the beginning of the year, I randomly select 5 eyeshadows from my collection to work on until I hit pan on them. And the goal is to definitely hit pan. If I feel like I'm not gonna hit pan or I don't really wanna work on that eyeshadow anymore, I can roll it out after 20 uses. If you've been following along with this journey this year, you know it's been a little bit more difficult than it has been in past years just due to my preference with eyeshadow, but we're still making good progress, I feel like, and I'm excited to share with you all the update for today. So before I get into that though, I do wanna just talk about my numbers so we can level set on kind of where my collection's at. I have 238 eyeshadows, 12 of those are singles, 226 of them are across 13 different palettes. My pan percentage is still at 16.38%, which is 39 pans in my collection. And I know I said this last video, but I'm still really proud of that number. I tried for a really long time to hit 15%, so the fact that I am over it and I still have 39 eyeshadows that have pan in my collection, which I feel like is quite a big number when you think about it. And I would say most of those came from this project over the years. So I'm hoping to make that 40 by the end of the year. And let's go ahead and get into the eyeshadows and how many times I use them this month. Even though it's a random selection, or I guess because it's a random selection, I have 3 eyeshadows that I'm working on coming from my Jaclyn Hill Morphe Volume 2 palette. And the eyeshadow that I am determined to hit pan on also is in this palette. Starting first with this shade right here called My Man. I use this 4 times strictly as a blush. It is just way too bright for me to wear as an eyeshadow. At the beginning of the year when I rolled it in, I attempted it, but it is just not my vibe right now, which is okay. I'm happy that I'm able to get some usage on it even still when I'm using it as a blush. It is so pigmented though, way more than like a typical blush would be. So I'm like barely dipping my brush in it and then using it for my cheeks. But even still, 4 uses is better than 0 if I had to wear it on my eyes. So I'm happy with that progress. And that was a tip from all of you. So thank you, because I've kept this eyeshadow in this project, even though I could have rolled it out at 20 uses, to just continue using it as a blush. And I've been happy with that. All right, next is Comfort Zone right here. I used this 15 times, so I'm actually really happy with that number. I feel like 15 is a great number for eyeshadow, and this is the one that I'm determined to hit pan on. I have quite a dip going in here, and my goal is to use this over the next month and a little bit to get pan on it, either by the December update or certainly by the finale. So I'm really excited about that. I've been wearing that a lot all over my lid, like that's where I started, and then I pull it up and blend it out into my crease. So I feel like I use a decent amount of eyeshadow doing that. I think what I need to do to be able to hit pan is also start dragging along my lower lash line. Then I can use a more defined brush right into the indentation that I have in the pan, and I think I'd be able to make a little bit more progress faster, at least getting down to the pan itself, whereas the blending brush kind of takes from a little bit more of the eyeshadow. So I think if I do a combination of those, I'll be able to hit pan a little bit faster, but really excited about the 15 uses on that one. And then the next eyeshadow from this palette is the shade Talia, and I used that one 6 times. When I first rolled this in, I was just using it as an inner corner, but how I've started using it is layering Comfort Zone down and then putting this one on my finger and just tapping it on. That's how I'm actually wearing it today. It gives a very subtle glitter to the look. I feel like it's not too much, and it's actually been really wearable for me. So I'm happy to be able to have used it in that way. So All in all, I'm very happy with the progress that I've made in this palette this year and even this month on what I've been able to accomplish in terms of those 3 eyeshadows. Those are definitely the ones that I've been using the most. And then I have 2 eyeshadows coming from these 2 palettes. Starting first with my Empowered palette from Huda Beauty. I've been working on this shade right here called Legacy. I do have a dip going in here and I would love to hit pan on it. It's just not gonna happen and I'm just not using it enough. I've used this one, I think this month it was just used as a liner. When you use an eyeshadow as a liner, it's great because you're getting like usage on it, but the volume of eyeshadow that you're actually using up is pretty minimal. And so I used that one 3 times as a liner. It is such a pretty warm brown shade. I have liked having this one in this project because I've been able to experiment with it and I do like using it as a liner and in my outer crease, and I think it pairs really well with some other neutral crease shades that I've had throughout this project as well. So I'm happy that I've left it in and continue to use it. And then I'm sad to tell you guys that after my last update, I dropped this palette face down and so many eyeshadows crumbled, so I can't really lift it up. The one that I'm working on though did not crumble at all, but the one next to it did. I didn't want to pull the eyeshadows out and repress, but I feel like I might have to because it's kind of just a mess in here and they're just crumbling everywhere. Let me know what you guys think I should do here. I feel like it's gonna get really messy to try and scrape them all out and then repress and put them back in these original tins, but maybe that's the best case scenario, or maybe I just leave it alone and it is what it is when I come in here and use it. But either way, the eyeshadow that I have been working on is this one right here called Ladies Night, and I only used it twice, and I have to admit, I don't love opening this up as much because it's all messed up and I have broken shades and it's kind of a mess, and I feel like that has been turning me off from using this one as much. Granted, I'm not pulling for it a ton in general, but it's just not my favorite seeing all of this smashed eyeshadow in here. So I don't know how much usage that one's gonna get over the next month or so, but both times that I did use it, it was as liner as well. So I feel like those 2 shades, Legacy and Ladies Night, are also competing for that liner spot on my lid. And between the 2 of them, I got 5 uses, but I think, you know, had I just been working on one, it would have been 5 uses on that particular eyeshadow instead of splitting 5 uses. My favorite parts of these videos are selecting new eyeshadows to roll in, and I haven't been able to do that in a little bit, unfortunately, because I haven't hit a pan. So I'm hoping that I can buckle down and get pan on Comfort Zone and maybe be able to hit pan on that by the December update so I can roll a new eyeshadow in just to work on for a couple weeks in December before the finale. I'm not sure, but that would be really nice. So I hope all of you enjoyed this video, this quick update on where my eyeshadow project pan stands today. I know I mentioned in my planning to pan video, I don't know exactly what next year looks like in terms of eyeshadow panning. I think it's just gonna depend on my preference and kind of what I'm thinking. I don't wanna ignore my eyeshadows in my collection because they are such a large part of my collection. They used to be, you know, the favorite part of my collection, but I also don't wanna make myself do something that I don't want to do. And if I don't really want to wear eyeshadow, I don't want to force it because this is supposed to be fun. That's the whole point of makeup. That's the whole point of panning, is because it's actually enjoyable, not like a job. I'm not saying that this has been, but you know what I mean? I don't want to make it that for myself. I'm thinking about maybe weaving eyeshadow into another project, or some of you have suggested many different projects that I could potentially try, so maybe I'll do that. Time will tell. But definitely stick around, subscribe to my channel if you haven't already, because I got tons of panning content. I also do shorts which give you a little other flavor of my life outside of my makeup and my panning content. So definitely stick around. Thank you all so much for watching. I hope all of you are doing well and staying safe, and I will talk to you in my next video. Bye.